Today we're going to be talking about these guys. It's an aquarium air pump. It's one way to effectively get oxygen back into your water. I'm not going to talk too much about that today, except that your fish or aquatic animals do need oxygen to survive just like we do. So providing them with the means to be able to survive is a pretty important thing. And to make sure that this equipment doesn't fail on you, it needs to be installed properly. So we're going to take a look at how I have mine currently set up and what are some things you don't want to do when it comes to installing an aquarium air pump. Also, make sure you stick around until the end of the video for my bonus tip for those that are willing to wait. I want to give you guys a couple different ways to set up your air pump properly for your aquarium. So an air pump can be used to either power an air stone, power an undergravel filter like mine here in the upper left hand corner, or to power a sponge filter. And these are different ways to provide oxygen to your tank, as I already talked about before, and also filtration with the form of undergravel filter and a sponge filter. One way that you can set up your aquarium pump is by situating it on top of your tank. And what this allows for is you don't have to have a check valve, because by having your air being delivered from the top down, there's no way for a siphon to be started on your aquarium and to drain out your aquarium. And that's the biggest thing that you're wanting to try to avoid, both for terms of draining out your entire aquarium as well as potentially ruining your air pump, because if water gets into there, it could potentially mess with the electrical system as well as any of the mechanical components inside of there. The other thing that you could do if you wanted to not have this here above the tank, which is sort of unsightly, you could also put it, say, below the tank. You could put it down here with the rest of your equipment where your power supply is and all your other stuff. But if you were to situate it down here rather than up top, you would want to make sure that you include a check valve onto that air pump. So you'd want to put your check valve in this general vicinity. That's the most popular place to put it. And what that check valve means is that air can only go from this way down into your tank. It can't flow back into it. So if you had it situated, if you had the pump situated down here, it would prevent the water, it'd only allow air to be pumped up into the tank to whatever you have, rather than allowing the water to get sucked back down and create a siphon if the power were to ever go out. By situating your aquarium pump down here with the check valve allows air to only move in one direction. So when you're installing your check valve, you want to make sure that the arrow is pointing the direction that you want the air to be going, otherwise there will be no air delivered to your tank. The one other problem with a check valve is that they have the potential to fail. It's another component that could potentially fail on you. The gasket could go bad. It could potentially, even with that check valve, cause the aquarium to start siphoning and draining the water level down, and both ruining potentially your pump in the long run, as well as killing all the beautiful fish that you have inside of your tank. So what I like doing is putting it up above, so that way there's never any possibility that a siphon can be created and ruining the air pump and draining the tank. Another thing that I would highly recommend is that you have your main air pump, but you also have your spare air pump. So that way, if your main air pump goes out, you have something to replace it with, so that you don't lose your fish because you're not oxygenating your aquarium. So that would be that bonus tip for you that I talked about. The last thing I want to tell you guys is to check out my other videos about how to properly set up other aquarium equipment that you might not have thought about before, and I'll leave that as a tag in the upper right hand corner. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end. If you guys liked this information and found it helpful, leave a comment below about what you learned, and if there's anything that I missed, let me know in the comments below so that I can also continue to learn. I hope you guys have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe. See you guys later.